everybody, this is Food by Faith, and today I'm coming to you with a great new recipe that you guys can have for the holidays, one that you can gift as well as eat all year long. What we're going to do today is something I like to call a bourbon peach topping. So you can also consider this a bourbon peach jam, or you can also use it inside. If any of you were able to get my cookbook or any of the recipes that I sent out in the Friendsgiving, I sent out a apple ham pie recipe. You can also use this topping inside the apple ham pie recipe. So any of the jams, jellies, sauces that I make, I like to make sure I make something that's versatile. The basis for all of my recipes comes out of the ball canning guide. So make sure if you are just starting out with water bath canning, which is what I'm going to be doing today, you make sure you have a ball canning guide, any one. So this recipe, again, is one kind of born out of necessity. Every now and again, I use canned peaches. And so you have the peach juice that is left over. So what I'm going to be using today, I'm going to spin you around so you can see all of my ingredients. So what we have here is we have about 7 cups of peach juice. We have a pound of peaches, 3 cups of sugar, a tablespoon of cinnamon. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of real lemon juice, and then we are going to use 2 tablespoons of the bourbon. And we're going to place all of those items into my all-purpose pot that I have here. And we're going to let those items cook down. So I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to do it. So all the items will be placed into my Pampered Chef all-purpose pot. So we're going to start with our 7 cups of peach juice. Guys, then we're going to place in our 1 pound of peaches. And guys, this is a great recipe if you have a peach tree, to be able to use the peaches off of your tree. We're going to put in our 3 cups of sugar. You can add more sugar if you so choose, but I believe that this is enough sugar. Our tablespoon of cinnamon. So this little measuring cup measures up to 4 tablespoons. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of real lemon juice. And guys, remember when you're canning, it is best to use bottled lemon juice versus using the fresh squeezed lemon juice, because this has a consistent acidity, wherein the fresh squeezed lemon juice, the acidity varies. And then the bourbon that I like to use for cooking is a Jim Beam Kentucky Straight bourbon. And I use that a lot in my baking as well as in my jelly and jams, because it gives off a nice honey flavor. And guys, just know that in eating this jam, you're not going to get drunk. But if you would not like to use the bourbon, you can just omit that altogether and not have any alcohol in it at all. So we're going to turn this on medium, and we're going to let this cook down. And periodically, I'm going to come in and I have what is called a Pampered Chef mix and chop. And I'm going to use that mix and chop, and I'm going to mash down the peaches. And that way we get nice chunks of peaches in every can. So I'm going to bring you in a little closer just so that you can see what we have going on right now. My spoon doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, this is what we have right now. And like I said, I have the stove on medium. And make sure you have a big enough pot, guys, because again, with the amount of peach juice and then the peaches and the sugar that we put inside of here, you need to make sure nothing overflows. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cook this for about 20 minutes and then I'll bring you back. So in the meantime, make sure you have your canning jars. So I have 2 pots going with my canning jars in there, as well as my Pampered Chef enameled pot going with my lids nice and warm. And that way, guys, we are kind of multitasking. We're doing more than one thing at a time, or we have more than one thing going at a time. All right, so I will bring you back. And when we come back, I'll show you how our peach pie, peach topping, peach jam is going. So guys, this is where we are right now. And I know initially I said 20 minutes, but I actually let it go for 35 minutes. So it's at a rolling boil. I use our mix and chop and I smashed down the peaches a bit. So what we're going to do now, and I forgot to mention it earlier, is we're going to put a packet of Sure-Gel Premium Liquid Fruit Pectin in, and then we're going to boil for a minute. We're going to let it get up to a rolling boil, one that can't be stirred down. And then I'm going to move you over and we are going to start our canning process. So again, this is just a recipe that you can use again as a pie filling, a hand pie filling. You can use it for ice cream topping. You can mix it into your drinks. It is very versatile, and whenever I make anything, I try to make sure, when I'm canning anything rather, I try to make sure that it is very versatile. Now, most of my other recipes, my baking recipes and such, my dinner recipes, brunch recipes, that's a different story. But whenever I do any water bath canning, like I told you guys before, the basis for all of those recipes for water bath canning comes out of the ball canning guide. And in the ball canning guide, they use either liquid pectin or they use the powdered pectin. So again, we put our liquid pectin in. We're gonna let this, I still have it on medium-high heat. We're gonna let this get to a rolling boil. As you can see, I'm stirring it, and guys, my house smells like fall. I have a lot of people that are going to be looking forward to this jam whenever it's done, because usually I am able to get fresh peaches, and I do bourbon peaches. I can bourbon peaches, and a few of my customers, they use those and they blend them up and they put them in their mixed drinks, or they use them on top of their ice cream. They put them on top of their shortbread or on top of their pound cakes. So this one will be just slightly thicker because the bourbon peaches are basically just the fresh canned peaches. And I add a little simple syrup and bourbon to those. But this mixture will actually be thicker, and so they can even put this on toast. But this is for all you Georgia peach lovers out there. This is a recipe that you guys will absolutely enjoy. And anybody who really, really enjoys peaches, this is something that you will enjoy. So guys, I got into water bath canning not because of something that I saw, not even because of like I'm not a prepper or anything like that. It was just out of something that I wanted to do. It was a desire that I've always had. I've always wanted to experiment with flavors, and I do it a lot in my cooking. And so one day I was in a store, and I think it was Aldi's, and they had so many plums on sale. And I remembered when we were overseas and we passed by a orchard, and my mom was like, "What is that? Let's pull over." So, you know, when you're in Europe, you can kind of pull over and it's not a big deal. Nobody's gonna run you over or anything like that. So we pulled over on the side of the road, and there was this little stand, and amidst this huge amount of fruit trees, there was this little old lady, and there she was at this stand. And once we got closer, we realized that it was plum trees, and we asked her how much it would be for the plums, and she gave us such a large amount of plums for €1. And so I said after that day, if I ever had a chance to can plum jam, I would. So while I was there, I did not have a chance to do it because there I worked really hard at the post office, so I didn't really have time to do much of anything. But now that I'm back in the States, I have a little bit more time. And as you can see, I don't even have a real water bath canner. I just took a pasta pot that I brought back from overseas, took the insert out, placed the canning insert in, and I'm using that. And then just a big pot that I picked up from a thrift store. Eventually, I'll get a water bath canner. But right now, I wanted to get started, and I've been doing it for a little over a year now. And so I just used what I had. And that's what I advise all of you to do. Use what you have. It's not always where you have to go out buying all of these different items. Use what you have on hand at home and work with that. So guys, this came to a really nice boil. So I'm going to bring my pot over here. And we're going to start with our first pot. Around. We're going to start with our first pot here that has our canning jars in it. Guys, remember, always be careful. So I always bring out 2 jars at a time. And I used to have a really thick mat that I sat the cans on. I don't know what happened to it. And that's strange because I'm very organized, so I don't know. So what we're going to do, I have my ladle here, and as you can see, we have our mixture here that has the chunks of peaches in it, and we're going to ladle it into our hot jars. And we're going to leave 1/2 inch headspace. And if you're not good at, noticing what a 1/2 inch headspace is on this little tool that you get in your, you can buy just the canning kit, and it comes with this. It comes with the lid lifter, and then it comes with this as well as the jar lifter. It'll tell you on here 1 inch headspace, 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. So you can place it in there, and that'll let you know that you have a 1/2 inch headspace, and then you can use this side of it to debubble. Okay, let's get this going. And guys, I'm not a neat freak, but I try to keep things as clean as possible. I really like everything to be organized. I'm really big on that. So I'm just checking to make sure I don't have any bubbles. I'm going to bring you in closer. You may not be able to see my face, but you'll be able to see the jars, and that's what matters. So everybody has their own methods of canning. This is vinegar. I don't knock anyone's methods of canning. We all have ways that we do it. And I feel like as long as we are all getting to the place that we are supposed to be, and we're not rogue canners, we're using recipes that have been tried and tested, I say go for it. Get all the knowledge you can off of YouTube, out of canning books. So I not only have a ball canning guide, but I also have a canning guide for beginners. And then I went to my local library because I wanted to take a look at a Amish canning guide before I purchased it. And the one that they had, I was looking at the recipes, reading them this morning before I left to run my errands. And it was nice, but I was thankful that I did not purchase it, that I did go to the library and check it out, because it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. So I'll go back and I'll see what other Amish canning guides they have, and I'll go from there. I also did that same thing when it came to a herb garden guide. I went to my local library and I checked it out just to see, because again, I mean, I don't need another cookbook. I don't need another book on my shelf. So to save money, I just went to my local library. So guys, there are people out there that still use their local library. So when I'm putting these canning rings, I'm only putting them on fingertip tight. I'm not over tightening them. Again, just a lesson that I have read and learned out of the ball canning guide. Guys, I also have guide and recipes offline off of the National Food Preservation website. That's where, I'm pretty sure that's where I got my cranberry sauce recipe from. That one, and I watch Homestead Heart Can, but I also watch a young lady. Her site is Rose Red Homestead, and she is in the same field as our Cherie. So our soul sister at home with Cherie, who is a scientist, Rose Red Homestead, she is in that same career field, And so she does all these different studies, and she gives you different methods, and she tells you why certain methods work and why certain methods won't work. And so I enjoy watching her. When I first started out, I would watch her, and I got quite a few recipes from her. She made a Sloppy Joe recipe, and she canned it, and oh my gosh, y'all, I went right behind her, and I did the same thing. I got as many items out of my garden as I could, and then the rest I waited until my local store had them on sale, and I made it, and I am so serious. It tasted amazing, and I followed exactly the recipe that she gave, and it was really, really good. I don't have any of those cans left. And guys, I only can things that I like to eat, or that I know that my Food by Faith customers are interested in. Every now and again, I'll get a request for something, but unless a number of people want that item, that isn't something that I'm willing to make. When I first started out in business many years ago, I would do that, and I would end up with so much leftover product, and it wasn't cost effective for my business. So guys, we actually won't need our second pot. We have enough just for our first pot. And this jar that's not completely filled, I'm still going to use it. And this one has just a little bit too much in it, so I'm going to remove some of that out. Again, guys, water bath canning. Sorry, I stood right in front of you guys. Water bath canning is pretty fun, and I enjoy doing it. There are a lot of people who enjoy pressure canning. Pressure canning is not something that I do, and I haven't. I just don't have interest. I don't have interest in it. So I just don't do it. But I enjoy water bath canning because, again, you know, there are things that I can't get at the store. Like, I like to make mixed grape jam. So I'm going to bring you back up so you guys can see my face. So I enjoy making mixed grape jam. And how I make the mixed grape jam is I use black, purple, and green, or some people call them white grapes. And I take those grapes with probably about a cup of water. And it's a recipe that I got out of the ball canning guide. But I take those and with some water, and I make a grape juice out of it. I mash the grapes, you know, just getting as much flavor out of them as I can. So guys, we ended up having 2, 4, 6, 8 of our jars. So we're going to turn our pot back up. We're going to let it come to a rolling boil, and then we'll set our timer at 10 minutes. But back to the mixed grape jam. So with the mixed grape jam, I take the 3 different types of grapes, mash them up, make a grape juice out of them, and then I make the jam out of them. And then I also do a white grape jam. So those are things that I can't find in my local store, but I enjoy the flavor of. My little sister and my nieces and nephews, they absolutely love white grape jam. My dad, he likes apple jam, so I make that for him. I just, my sister was going up that way to Atlanta, so I just sent him 2 jars the other day, and whenever he needs more, of course, I have more on hand. But these are things that I enjoy eating, things that I enjoy using. And so in the beginning, before I added my canning goods to my item list for sale, it was just something that I did that I enjoyed. And I had given away some box lunches to my husband's job one day. They were just really, really busy. They had a lot going on. And so I made some Food by Faith lunch boxes, and everybody adored them. And so at that time I was working midnight to 8 o'clock, and I would bring in the lunches at night, place them in the refrigerator, so when everybody got to work the next morning, I could deliver it to them and they would have it for their lunch that day. And the business was really good. I really enjoyed it. But I have left there, and so now I do a lot of vendor events. So guys, we're gonna let this water come to a rolling boil. I'm gonna let you see what it is looking like right now. And then once it comes to a rolling boil, we're gonna set our timer at 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, I'm gonna bring you guys back and I'm gonna show you what it looks like while they rest for 24 hours waiting on them to seal. So right now, our jars are just sitting inside our pot. The water is hot, but it's not boiling as of yet. I have my temperature turned up, so we're gonna put our lid back on, and once that water comes to a rolling boil, then we're gonna set our timer for 10 minutes. When that 10 minutes is almost up, I'll bring you back. Hey family, so we are back, and here is the end product. So we will let this sit until tomorrow. And they already started to seal when I first brought them out. But we'll let them sit till tomorrow with the rings on. And then we'll take the rings off and we will wipe down the jars. Make sure I put the date in my date book of when I made these. And they'll be ready to go. Thank you guys for watching with me today. It was a pleasure bringing you along on this canning journey. Whenever I do any more canning, I will make sure I bring you guys along. I know that the next thing we're going to do is apple pie jam. So, of course, I will bring you guys along on that journey as well. And remember, have faith in your food, and remember, get up, get out, and grow something. Thanks, guys, for coming along. And if you like this video, please remember to subscribe, like, share, as well as hit the notification button so that you know anytime that I upload a video. And I pray this content is helpful to you all. Thank you.